Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me on I Love My HBCU ? I'm Tosin Richard, and I am joined by, I'm going to call him multi-hyphenate, even though we will all explore together all the amazing things that soon-to-be Dr. Dangerfield from Prairie View A&M University is working on. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well as well, ma'am. How are you?
I can't complain. I can't complain. I said multi-hyphenate in my introduction of you because thanks to stalking your Instagram as well as even the slight conversation that we had before we hit record, you are a person of several talents. I personally want to hear about Sawyer Yard Art Studios, if that's okay. But tell us all the different things that you do.
Okay. My name is Desmun Dangerfield. I am a full-time media photographer, videographer. I run a whole media company here in Houston, Texas, with a studio in Winter Street Studios that is part of Sawyer Yard. It's actually an art gallery, one of the top art districts in Texas, let alone the nation. While running a studio there, I also run a nonprofit organization called Seeds for Success, where we give leadership development lectures for HBCUs as well as disc assessment consultations and things like that to help bridge the gap between them going to college and then also finding their career. On top of that, I also facilitate a lot of things with Prairie View as of now, helping with the Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship and helping with a lot of the projects that they want here for the students, as well as, yeah, that's pretty
You
much
do a
it.
lot. You do a lot. You do a lot. You seem to be a happy marriage between entrepreneurship and academic excellence. And what I find in a lot of entrepreneurship programs at different universities, inclusive of HBCUs, is I find people doing one or the other. So either I'm going to go all the way academic, or I'm going to actually quote one of my students, I can make all that money now. So why am I going to get my degree? I'm just going to go and become an entrepreneur instead. What led you down the pathway of doing both at 100%? And what do you say to students, for example, who say, I'm just going to do one or the other, and the one that they normally pick is entrepreneurship over academics?
I think because I strategize on allowing students to understand personal development and who they are on the inside of them, that who you are on the inside bleeds out to what you do for humanity. So whether that is an entrepreneur or being in an academic role, finishing assignments versus finishing a project versus finishing work is all in the same category. So where I teach from is a basis of how do you complete a thing? How do you start something and finish it? What is integrity? What is good character? Why did you come to college? What is your understanding about college? What is your understanding about the university? What are the benefits you can gain from going to college versus being an entrepreneur? Because 80% of my clients are people that I went to school with.
Hmm.
So now we ask the question, what does an HBCU or just a university period, what does it give you? Does it give you just a degree or does it give you a
Hmm.
network?
Hmm.
So when we study ecosystems and we study organizational development and organizational leadership, what happens is you find out that you don't just get a degree, but you start from a small component of what a city may be, and you bring it down to a university. And those working parts and those people, the individuals that work here, the administration, the students become now your clients, and you get to practice perfection at a small level so that when you go into the world, you take those same components and things that you learned and develop a standard of excellence that can carry you into Deloitte, but also carry you into your storefront, can carry you bridging partnerships with the city of Houston or with the state, and also at a 9 to 5. Because my theory is always this: just because you work at a 9 to 5 doesn't mean that you are an entrepreneur. In fact, in 2024, the new entrepreneur is the 9 to 5. That's why they just passed the non-compete clause law, because now people are working 2 to 3 full-time jobs. So now you ask the question: if I can juggle three different titles, that must mean I have a
Hmm.
gift, and all I'm doing is exercising that gift in three different ways. And so I'm a firm believer. Yes, your gift will make room for you, but more importantly, your gift will put you in front of great people, but it will also put you in front of great opportunities, because you never receive anything that is good in life without receiving people first.
Wow. You shared that you are recently the lead for a new entrepreneurship program at Prairie View A&M University. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so they have hired me on as a consultant to help with three major parts of the Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship that is led by the Miss Brandy Walker here at Prairie View A&M University. And so what I'll be doing is helping build the framework for the organization, for the entrepreneurship organization that they want as a student-led organization for students, but also a 10-week boot camp that teaches students how to build the business, taxes, what is an LLC? What is the reason to get an LLC versus just having a DBA? How to pitch to businesses, how to pitch to for grant funding and things like that. So they're hiring me on to not only build the framework, not only do the branding, not only doing the brand strategy, but to also pull students in to say, hey, what I learned of when I came to Prairie View in 2011, dropped out 2 to 3 times, got back in school, taught myself how to finish things, taught myself how to be the best entrepreneur, but also understanding how to bridge the gap between academic success and professional success. We're putting all of that in a program that they've already been doing. All I'm doing is coming in and tightening up some screws, but also giving a new foundation and a new look so that students can understand that being an entrepreneur is just not you in your dorm or in your room or at your mother's house doing one single thing and not having
Hmm.
no help. Why can't we help them here? They're already here. Because if we look at how the world is turning, if we look at how the world is excelling, working a job is out of the picture. You are an entrepreneur when you work the 9 to 5, because when you turned in your resume, you turned in a sheet of paper that said, "This is my gift." How you articulate my gift is the reason why you're hiring me. But I can also use this gift in many different areas. So that is also what I'm helping cultivate here through this center.
That's amazing. I think the part that stuck out to me, because I think many institutions, inclusive of HBCUs, now are having centers of entrepreneurship and innovation and so on and so forth. But what I really liked about what I heard you say is they're already here, and many of them are functioning entrepreneurs. Since we're also already here, why aren't we helping them in whatever it is their talent or their gift is, to make them better entrepreneurs? And it doesn't have to be the most formalized of relationships, is what I'm hearing. And what comes to mind, I have a class that I teach at Morgan State University, and many of my female students will tell me that they're lash technicians and they own their own company and they own their own businesses, which I actually think is pretty brilliant. And when I now hear them going after entrepreneurship, what I hear people sharing with them is making them want to switch what that business focus is, as opposed to using what it is they already do and what they already have, and just help build a foundation for them. That's what I hear you doing in the space that you're in. And I think it's a model that should be replicated. It doesn't have to be, let's switch them to do something different. They are already business owners. However you choose to see it, they are already business owners. Why don't you shore them up with the necessary tools that will actually allow them to succeed in whatever spaces that they're in? So I love that.
One thing about it is we have to be well prepared, and being the fact that you are a professor, that just like people have to be updated, curriculum has to be updated. The curriculum is a byproduct of the world that we live in, so that students can keep up with how the world is moving, not stay with where the world is. So
Absolutely.
a lot of
Absolutely.
times, these students do have businesses. I have a person, her name is Lana. She owns, you brought up a lash tech company. She owns a lash tech company and is doing girls' lashes. And when I saw her down here, I think at the store, and she was like, "Hey, how you doing?" Because I've done a brand photo shoot for her, and I asked her, and I said, "Hey, how's business going?" She was like, "I'm making like $95,000 a year, and I'm in college." The thing is, let me tell you the problem, and let me tell you the solution.
Okay.
She has had to take a semester off, and that
Hmm.
semester extended to another semester. And I find it that it is my goal and passion to pull her back into school because she
Mhm.
was good GPA, she was doing engineering. But now, if we can acquire this minor to be attached to this in entrepreneurship, you will not just be a lash technician. You will own a lash business that has three areas in Houston: downtown, the North Side, Westheimer by the Galleria. How do we? How do I show her that she can own a storefront in the Galleria? How do we set her up? What is the people at the Galleria looking for her to
Yeah.
move this whole business in? What is her business model? How can we get her to get certain levels of funding? When I get her with the VP of Chase to sit down and talk with her, Cheryl, to show her what other businesses are doing that are just like her. She's only at the age of 21. So
Wow.
now my goal is not for you to just make money, but my goal is to expand you and
Yeah.
to get you to model what other businesses are doing to push you in a place that not only where you can just make more money, but you can have more visibility of how to run a bigger blueprint. My goal is to expand your mind to not just doing something at your apartment. My goal is to send you to Atlanta, is to send you to LA, is to send you to Miami to partner with people where you can bridge the gap between something so small and make it so much more bigger. So that is the model of why I love working with Prairie View. That is the model of taking the photographer that I saw last week and saying, "Hey, man, I'm just starting photography, but I love doing X, Y, Z." Well, you have a person in front of you that has made the six figures before, that has been in the studio, that has talked with people, that has worked for millionaires, that pictures who've been in Madison Square Garden, pictures who have been all of these different areas. How do you build your framework? How do you build this inventory list? Do you know about funding? Do you know about do you know that people are willing to chunk money at you for you just to be great? And so that for me is good because I want to open eyes versus just get them a paycheck.
So I'm going to be taking your course, just FYI. Based on, I don't mean that as a joke. It is to me anyway. It's impossible for anyone who is even just interested to not listen to everything that you've said and the passion with which you say it. To say I'm calling him up. I know the second this goes live, there's going to be a whole bunch of my students calling you, inclusive of myself calling you, because the way you broke that down makes it palatable and makes it doable for one to actually want to follow in those steps. I love it.
Well, thank you. The thing is, now with me learning a lot of this stuff in my PhD program, that I already knew in my head is if the student is already here, if the entrepreneur is already here, the university is supposed to cultivate that and add to it. MIT does, Texas A&M does. In fact, what I'm studying now is governance issues between HBCUs and Board of Regents. What is the relationship between the Board of Regents? Who
Ooh.
hired the Board of Regents? The Board of Regents is hired by the governor. What is his financial strategy with why he put those certain people on the Board of Regents? If you notice a lot of HBCUs, the Board of Regents that they sit under, none of them had taught. None of them have been in education. Why is the CEO of petroleum and all these other places and all these other companies on top of the board of regents that serve for the chancellor to give funding, whatever, to the local HBCU? But what happens in between that gap? So if the governor himself has an agenda that pushes forward entrepreneurs and pushes for research and being R1 and R2, why can't we do it at HBCUs? You fund them. So is it a matter of we can't do it, or are we too scared to change things in the educational and academic arena? And so that is why, if I can start small, if I can start at a low level, I can build up because I may not be able to change the board of regents, but I can change the student. And wherever the student goes, the board follows. So those are things to really think about because we start asking ourselves, why are these pivotal people being put in certain positions and we still see no real change? HBCUs are only getting 50 to 60% of funding as it is. That's why we have to go hire a president that is the turnover rate is between 3 to 6 years because their main focus is to get the rest of the funding. Well, if we didn't already have that issue, we wouldn't have that problem. And my favorite phrase that I tell people that are my friends is if you had it like that, you would have it like that.
Hmm.
So my goal is to make sure that while they are up there, as I'd say in my church, while they are up there focusing on heavenly things down here on earth, down here on the campus, little by little, I'm going to show you how to build something while they figure it out. And by the time they figure it out, you have went on and became this successful person, learning who you are in the academic arena, but also in the professional arena, so that you can be the best version of yourself.
You spoke a lot of stuff. And that's just the way Tosin talks. When I say you spoke a lot of stuff, here's what I mean. You dropped a lot of gems. And Lord have mercy. As you were talking and you went from the placement of members of the board of regent to the type of student and where they will be, I saw I saw Desmond Dangerfield, soon to be Dr. Dangerfield, holding court at a summit, be it Black Forbes, be it, there's several that come to mind. So I shouldn't say all of them out loud, but there's several that come to mind because I think the manner in which you just went through each one of those individually core areas deserve some dissection, and they deserve more people, i.e., leadership at different universities, inclusive of students, as well as corporate entities, listening to how some of these connections either are getting made or should be made and are not being made. And I won't be able to dive into all of that right now. I want to, but that will keep us here for at least 3 more hours if I dove into all of that. But it's a lot. It's a lot. I literally went through my head when you said how many of the Board of Regents have taught. And I know different members of the Board of Regents at about 5 different schools, and at least the ones I know of personally, you are not wrong. I'm sure there are some that have, but how do you not have a little bit of an experience, be it a percentage of them that are on their boards that have a direct relation to what it looks and feels like to be in that academic space on a different level? I've never ever asked myself that question, and I've actually never heard anybody else ask that question, but I think it's a question that we must entertain depending on how we want to serve our students. So wow. um Before I throw a whole bunch of other stuff at you, I'm going to throw the rapid fire segment at you, and it's 67. You're Dangerfield. You should know why it's 67 seconds instead of 60 seconds. Yes.
I would love to say yes, but no.
But no, I love the way he answered. I would love to say yes, but no. No, it is in honor of nine. I used to say 10, but it's actually nine HBCUs that were founded in 1867. So instead of 60 seconds, I go for 67 seconds. So I'm going to throw a bunch of questions at you, and I can't wait to hear your answer. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh gosh, you've got 3 levels of HB experience. Describe your HBCU experience in one word.
Strategic.
Strategic. I'm coming back to that. Pick any bachelor's, master's, even doctorate. If your time in college was a song and he sings in the shower, I think he needs to have his own record deal or something. But if your time in college was a song, what song would it be?
Smile by Charlie Chapman.
Smile by Charlie Chaplin. I love that. What would you have wanted to tell your, let's go undergrad. What would you have wanted to tell your college roommate but didn't?
Please pray for me for my process.
You are one deliberate human being, and I love it. Shout out your favorite professor and what did they teach? And it can't be you.
Dr. James Jones, American History with the Stain of African American Suffrage.
Wow. 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 If you, ooh, this isn't fair, but I'm going to ask you anyway. If you could be the commencement speaker at any HBCU, apart from Prairie View A&M University, which would you pick?
Houston Tillerson.
And time's up. You remind me of I can see her face. I don't know why I can't see her name right now. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I believe her last name is, and the deliberate pauses before you give an answer. I don't see too many people do it that way. And hers are longer, but I love the way you gave your deliberate pauses. And I want to follow up on two of your rapid fire segment responses. Um, I know you're from Houston, but something tells me that's not the only reason why you would pick Houston Tillotson as the space that you would want to give a commencement speech. Why that choice?
That school has a undertone of quote unquote barely making it for years. And the turnover rate of hiring as well as students is too high because of certain issues that the state of Texas also with certain horrible leadership has led that school to where it was because it is progressively getting better. The reason why I picked that school is because I want to speak to students that tried their best at a deficit,
Hmm.
that tried their best at knowing that this is the cap in which the university can give me. And my goal is to take that cap off and to say, you belong with the entire group. You have a sense of belonging with everybody that has graduated, not just at Houston Tillerson, at Prairie View, at Harvard, at Howard, at at Morehouse, all of these places. So I don't want you guys thinking of yourself less than, because I'm helping a person right now. Her name is Jasper. She stays in Pearland, Texas, right there by Houston. And I am coaching her through finishing her bachelor's at a community college versus an HBCU or any four-year institution, because I'm going to showcase to a lot of people how you can receive a degree from a community college and still fight with the big dogs in that academic arena versus going to a four-year institution. So the reason why I picked that school is to give students hope and to tell them you're here. You're here. No, you belong in the pot as well. Just because people frown at your school or your institution, but they won't say it publicly, does not give a
Hmm.
definition to the excellence that you've portrayed for the past 4 through 8 years of you getting your degree. So yeah.
I hear you're, for those who don't know, your doctorate is a pursuit in educational leadership, and I want you to tell us a little bit more about that. There's already some things that I've chosen to surmise just based on the way you have had this conversation with us, that I don't know if this is a plan of yours, but can you imagine Dr. Dangerfield as a president of one of our universities? And it doesn't just have to be an HBCU, or it doesn't have to be an HBCU. I can imagine it. I don't know if you can imagine it, but I absolutely can. In what you just said, I heard the need to always treat people as an individual. That's truly what I heard. And make sure that individuals, you don't let individuals be limited. You show individuals that even if caps have been put on them, they should not put those caps on themselves. Because everything I heard you say about the institution, and whoa, what hit me in my chest is the things that they'll say about your institution, but they'll say it privately, but they won't say it publicly about those, especially the negative things that they won't say publicly. But because it's been said privately, it unfortunately is also informing the manner in which they treat you as an individual. And it's also informing the manner in which they either will support or not support different things about your institution that then affects you. That hit heavy because I've seen that in a lot, especially of our smaller HBCUs, where there is so much that is said about the cap that is on them privately. And so you don't fund different parts of their institution and you don't support their students going for some of these big competitions that we have, when in all fairness, they should have that as well. So it's interesting for you to take it out of the HBCU space and just make it about this lovely person that you're working with at a community college. But that resonated heavily for me. You said what you would say to your college roommate, and that struck a chord. Why that particularly, i.e., pray for me through this process?
Because when you asked me about what word, and I forgot what word I picked, and I said strategic. I said strategic. I really wanted to say long suffering. My freshman year, I was not developed into the person you see now. And the reason why I would tell him to pray for me is because I did not know that God Himself would drag me through becoming who I am today, through so many different hardships to develop who I am. So the knowledge and wisdom that I have came with pain. And it came with not just reading it in a theory based text, but living it every single day. The reason why I can talk to students about how much you need to get paid when you get out of college is because I was homeless before and couldn't afford rent. Who do you need to talk to, and what is the level of character and integrity you need to have when getting out of college? Because I had many people question the validity of who I am and what I could bring for such a season that they never wanted to give me an opportunity because I didn't submit to their standard. The reason why I would tell him to pray for me is because I didn't know that the tears that I would cry since 2011, through dropping out, through still running a business through a pandemic, through sustaining a business through what is still a recession going on, through losing and gaining, what amount of pain I would go through. That's what I would have him pray for me about.
Wow. That A, that's powerful. B, you've mentioned it twice, you dropping out of college. I would love to know your college selection journey. Yes, you're from Houston. You picked Prairie View A&M University. Something tells me you could have picked any institution to attend in the state of Texas, perhaps even beyond. But correct me if I'm wrong. How did you, because you've also stayed at Prairie View A&M University for each of your degrees. Tell me, why Prairie View A&M University? How did you select it in the first place? And then why have you stayed?
I'm actually from Dallas. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm actually from Dallas. I was in the band in high school and middle school and then elementary school. And just like a lot of HBCUs that are in the South, we care about the band more than we care about even the university. Let's go ahead and be honest.
Yes.
We love the outside fun activities, homecoming more than the university in itself. I was afforded the opportunity to listen to the Prairie View A&M University Marching Storms, the marching band here. And from listening to that band play live my freshman year of high school, I fell in love with the band because I love playing music. And so I told myself through countless times of YouTube and all of the songs. I played tuba in the marching band, but I also played every instrument because I was a music major. But I played tuba in the marching band. I played bass trombone in the jazz band. I said that's where I want to go. I wanted to go there because of the band, not because of the school. I didn't care about the school. But then when I got here, it's weird. My mom sent me to Prairie View, and I joined the band. In my freshman year, I got to play in this band, and this is by far one of the greatest joys being in the very thing in which you used to Google all the time.
Mm.
I came here the second semester my freshman year. I saw that, well, the first semester I saw that they were taking pictures at some of the functions. I was like, that's interesting, a photographer. And I used to pass by a lot of events where the photographers were taking pictures and put it on Facebook and all of this stuff. And so I bought my first camera the second semester, and then I taught myself off of Google and YouTube, and I've turned that into a six-figure business here now in 2024. That's what led me to Prairie View. And I remember when TD Jakes was talking to his son asked him, he said, "Dad, what if music is not the thing that I've been set out to do here in this world?" And TD Jakes told his son, "If music is not the thing that you've been called to do, it is surely the thing that leads you to the door of what you have been called to do." So the doorway of life was presented to me through music, presented to Prairie View, leading to Prairie View, and then presented to photography, and presented to through all forms of media, and then now it's being presented through the cultivation of students.
Hmm.
Be
Hmm.
mindful of the doors that you are being led to. And it also plays a part into not holding on to things after certain seasons. There's a season for everything. And with me, I teach students to understand the power of a yes, but also the power of a no. Not just to people, but to the season. And so that is what led me to Prairie View. And Prairie View has been a backbone of cultivating who I am. The university, the professors, the administrators, the past presidents that have been here, people who have sown into my life, and that has caused a love for me to have for my HBCU that I will always give back. I will be the 80-year-old professor walking the campus in an oversized suit with 5 books in my hand, going off on everybody because they walking on the grass, knowing doggone well I was walking on the grass anyway, just to bother people. I will be the person sitting on the board. I will be working here, whether it's through a paycheck from the university or it's through the hours of free help that I give. Because not only do I see myself in these students, I just really, I just really don't see a need for them to suffer the way I did.
Wow. Wow. Can I throw some of your words right back at you? Yes. You Gosh, I love everything you say because there's just so much to learn from everything you say. Even the comedic ones that you did a comedic one about dating, I think, that I saw on your Instagram page. And I when I tell you I laughed, and I'm not going to tell the audience what it is because I want you to go to find him on Instagram and watch this reel because he's serious the entire time he's saying it, but it is hilarious. Those are not the words I'm throwing back at you. You said, and I wrote it down. I love writing what people say down on as guests because you guys drop gems, and I don't think you're realizing it in the moment, the gems that you're dropping. But you talked about the power of the yes and the no to the seasons. And I want to have us recruit you up down my way somehow. But I also heard you say that you are going to stay. Not stay, you didn't say stay. You said you will be the 80-year-old professor who is where you are pouring into the students. And Tosin's being cheeky. I'm being cheeky when I say I'm throwing your words back at you. What if the season takes you away and the season says, hey, come on over here instead and be that 80-year-old professor on this side of the world in Baltimore, Maryland, as opposed to being in Texas? What would you say?
I think people can be multidimensional.
Okay, okay.
I know I be saying some stuff, bro. I know. I think because I've seen the infamous Dr. Bonner, who is the endowed chair here at Prairie View, because I've seen Dr. Parker here who was over the Department of Educational Leadership and has served as the dean and all type of titles since the 70s, because I've seen these people be
Okay.
everywhere at once.
Okay.
Why can't I do it?
Why
These
can't
people have
you?
modeled, and that's what I love about HBCU professors, because they show you how to fix things through each generation,
Yeah.
but they also show you how to get it done, and they also show you that I told my friend this one day, and I said, I love being in this program because I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and Dr. Bonner and Dr. Parker are members as well. These people have the bandwidth and the elasticity to see a student and engage through years of wisdom what is on the inside of that student. And just like God does for us, they pull and expand and they stress that student out so much to the point right before death, so
He
that
said right before death.
their mind, who they are, and who they are on the inside is stretched so much
Hmm.
that they, just like an oil press, know how to get every drop out of that individual. That is a gift I have never been able to understand. And because I've seen these individuals be at University of Arkansas, seen these individuals, Dr. Bonner just had a whole meeting with Yale University for Prairie View. These there are workings in this institution that are going on right now that are bridging so many gaps. And if these professors can do it, I know they're going to teach me how to do it. So I'm not worried about being at four different universities. That's between God and the people at the university. They got to do with me. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
I know what to get done though. And so being here, being in this program, allowing Dr. Bonner, Dr. Gerald Moore, who made me cry in my statistics class last semester because I was getting all of the answers right, but when I had did the homework and did the test online, I failed everything and still gave me an A. We love him. And the forging of the individual in this PhD program is what I love. So to
Yeah.
answer your question, yes, I can be in three different places at once. I do it now.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. You speak a lot about so many things on your platforms. But I'm curious, what issue going on in the world today gets under your skin?
HBCUs hiring administrators and people that don't have a sense of community development for the students. Whenever you get hired at a high level business institution, you have to understand the population in which you serve. It's like
Absolutely.
me. It's like how I run a business doing media and photography, but I don't know how to Photoshop black people. So you hire HBCUs have a history of hiring people because they want their research versus their connectivity with the students. So now that professor does not speak the language of the population that's coming in. And then you wonder why the statistics are so. And instead of going deeper in the hiring process and understanding the population with the administration and with professors, you hire people who cannot get the job done.
Yeah.
Or they can get the job done on paper. But in an HBCU, when has everything on the paper just been enough? You came to a hospital as a nurse, but you don't know how to work the tools.
Yeah.
That's what I hate. And
Yeah.
then we keep giving these people reign and power over things. And yet you keep talking about the issue. It's like dating a person, still telling them every day, this is what you're doing that's hurting my feelings. And I still am in a relationship. Why haven't I left you? And my question for the administration is, why haven't you let these people go?
Wow.
So that's what I hate, which is actually what caused me to change my dissertation topic. It was going to be about black student male population, fourth through seventh grade lack of leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Mm-hmm.
I want my dissertation to be on issues in governance,
Yeah.
academic governance
Yeah.
that breaks apart the reason why they have so much leverage to get rid of DEI.
Hmm.
You're the problem. And who else is the problem is are the people who hire them. And this is what I love about the infamous Dr. Fred Arthur Bonner at Prairie View A&M University, because he came from a PWI and bridged the gap and helped and cultivated. We had on our governance class last semester, he said, I was hired as an endowed chair. I was hired as this, but at a PWI, you can get hired for one position and have four different workers helping with those four other necessities of that department. You hired an endowed chair for an HBCU, you're going to be the endowed chair. You're going to grade dissertations. You're going to teach four classes when they promise you to only teach one. You're going to also have to pick up two classes. The other teacher who's driving from Austin, Texas may not show up because she already has a load. So you when you get hired, these professors know that I'm going to be doing more than what's on paper. I just wish that HBCUs had a track record of knowing who they hire and
Yeah.
actually care.
Yeah.
And so, what irritates me is the lack of care that you have for students, and it is reflected in who you hire.
Wow. Knowing you, and I don't know you that well, but here's my hope that when you write that dissertation, because you are echoing, and I'm going to say it, words that a number of us have said. Why aren't some of these persons let go? And some of them, we collectively as a community know that they're problematic. And problematic not because of who they are, but what you just said. You don't speak the language of the community within which you are hired to serve, yet you are allowed to do whatever you're going to do in that
Over
space.
funding. You're over funding, and you don't. Okay.
So I don't care if it comes out in a short little documentary when you're done. I don't care if it comes out in a book. I don't care how it comes out. I would love to see your dissertation in a palatable bite size for the nation. And nation, I'm talking about the 105 HBCUs that exist. To be able to see this and digest it, and it's not just a matter of asking themselves the question, but what are we going to do about it afterwards? Because it's something that is real. Both tracks that you are going to go through are extremely important. The first one with regards to Black male educators and students and so on and so forth. But this one, many of us observe it and experience it on a daily basis. So I look forward to reading your dissertation once it is done and published. I really, really do. Um, I want to stay on and have at least 2 more hours of your time, but that's not fair. You've got a whole lot more. He's running about three businesses, so you've got a whole lot more to do. However, when we said let's have this conversation, and you might have had something that you wanted to say, have I done an adequate job of addressing everything? Chances are I haven't. So if there's something you wanted to bless the audience with that I have not given you an opportunity to, please share.
Well, my question is, what are the number one? What are the types of individuals that look at this podcast?
It is for students. It's for HBCU students. It is for HBCU alum. It is to give. I call it a love letter. It is to give our amazing alum an opportunity to highlight and share for our students and let them know you're not alone in some of the things that you're experiencing. That's number one. And number two, it gets good. It gets good. And this is who are examples of what you could be someday. Don't be us, be yourselves, but look at what we've done from having started where you are. And then, especially for the students, it gives them an opportunity to just amplify their voices on different issues that matter to them, be it at an HBCU or beyond an HBCU.
Gotcha. I think I would just leave with saying, Be mindful of the echo you can create when you yell loud enough. And just like people share trauma, we can also share concerns. With HBCUs, the world is turning and evolving to a place that is undeniably scary. But with the world evolving, that leaves room for new creativity. So be mindful of the belonging that you have going to an HBCU. Not looking at problems, not looking at the lack of this or the lack of that. I want students to know how much their voice matters if you yell, scream at the right person. And so I will never neglect a student going to an HBCU. The only thing I really have to say is don't be scared to challenge things because the worst that they can do is nothing. And that's really it. I've said already a mouthful with this podcast that these issues are being looked at, but also HBCUs at the rate of a deficit that they're in, putting out so much. And that's what state governments are looking at and saying, how are they only getting 40, 50, 60% of funding and still pushing out these incredible individuals? So the pride that I have for my institution is located in the deficit
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
I'm here to fix a problem. And I work here, but I don't work here. I don't care about nobody getting mad. You can't fire me. I was contracted. So I can sit here and say all of these things and make people uncomfortable. And that's okay. It's my job to make people uncomfortable. And it's also my job to set the crooked path straight.
Hmm.
And so for me, that's my goal. I just challenge a lot of people who are in these areas in education, whether it's P through 12, whether it's higher education. What are you there for?
What are you there for?
Is it to collect a check or is it to really help? So
Wow.
I really want people to question their why and
Question your why.
despise not small beginnings.
I love that. I love that. Soon to be Dr. Desmond Dangerfield. Please leave our audience with one word or short phrase on why you love HBCUs.
HBCUs are the gift that keeps on giving.
On that note, I appreciate you. To anyone watching this, I'm saying it is impossible for you to not go ahead and like this episode, not because of me, but because of every single gem that Desmond Dangerfield has dropped in this episode. And I hope I have actually earned your honor of subscribing to I Love My HBCU question mark. Dr. Dangerfield, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, ma'am.
You've been listening to I Love My HBCU question mark. Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst of course holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.